So here we are, the Hyundai Veloster SR Turbo. Now it's got a few tweaks for 2015, doesn't it, Molly?
That's right, Steve. The engine remains unchanged, but we have new wider tyres, and also the suspension's been tweaked a little bit more. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes on the road.
All right, well, let's take it for a spin then. All right, Molly, well, here we are inside the Veloster now. One thing they haven't changed is the look. You know, for me, I think that's one of the great strengths of this car, is it is a little bit different.
Yeah, you're completely right. It's a bit quirky from the outside. I think the styling looks, really sporty, and I don't think, it's almost a little bit ahead of its time. I think so. It didn't need an update in the inside as well. Same thing. Just a little bit different, which I'm quite a fan of.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting, the three-door layout, because it gives you that coupe look on one side at least and a hatch on the other, which makes this car, I guess, a little bit of a hatchback in disguise, doesn't it? Because even though it's a sports car, technically as it's defined, it really is as practical as a hatch in a lot of ways.
And on the point of practicality, the space in the back is actually, I think, really good for the size of the car, and it's got that practicality element to it too.
Yeah, which is a big plus, because the Veloster is still one of the best-selling sports cars in the country, competing against the likes of the Toyota 86 and the Subaru BRZ, which are obviously more of a coupe, rear-wheel drive, but similar sort of money, but obviously not anywhere near as practical as this thing.
Yeah, and I think also another point, talking about the price, is the quality. We're in the Plus model, so we've got a few extra features with the sport seats and heated seats, sat-nav, but at that price point, I thought the quality was actually pretty good.
Yeah, for 30 grand, it's pretty hard to beat. But I guess being a sports car, the real test is how it drives. Why don't we swap over and you can take it for a spin?
Sounds like a plan, if you're game.
Buckle up.
Just adjust with my electric seats.
Yeah, it really is really well equipped. I mean, you've got heated and ventilated seats, which is...
Yeah, you don't often see it in a car in this sort of category.
At this end of the market, it's pretty unheard of. Is it a proper sports car? Is it even a proper hot hatch? I mean, it hasn't quite got the power to match the best hot hatches.
I think 150 kilowatts isn't bad for a car like this, but as you say, I don't think it's a pure hot hatch, but it's certainly a comfortable, good-looking car with a little bit of go. Yeah,
I mean, it's got. I guess the issue is probably more the torque. It's only got about 260 newton meters, so it's maybe lacking the torque of something like a Golf GTI or a Ford Focus ST. But I think Hyundai's made a really big effort the last few years on tuning their cars for Australian conditions. And this thing certainly, it doesn't, even though it has the benefits of a hot hatch in a lot of ways, of a hatchback in a lot of ways, it doesn't feel like a hatchback. It actually drives with a bit more precision than that. Yeah,
and speaking of the precision, one feature which it's quite cool is the adjustable steering mode.
Yeah.
And you can really, when you switch from the comfort mode to the sport mode, it's quite noticeable. Really, stiffens the steering up a little bit when you get into the sports mode and makes it feel a bit more sporty.
Yeah. Now what about hanging on around the corners? You're the expert in that department.
This is going to be the driving of the car that's going to be the issue. But look, I think it's quite good actually. It's obviously when you are, as you say, comparing it to the 86s in that market, and you've got the 86 with the rear-wheel drive factor. So the driving dynamics will be quite different with the Veloster being front-wheel drive. So, on one hand, some people might say it's not quite as fun, but very practical, quite safe, and very direct.
Yeah, I think it sort of fits into there's this new niche that's emerging now, this warm hatch, which not quite a hot hatch, not quite a run-of-the-mill hatchback, and I think it really slots in there quite nicely. It's got plenty of gear, good value for money, and it is a little bit above average in terms of how it drives. So for me, I think it's well worth considering.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.